Hello there, students. Welcome to our week of virtual recorded lessons. Quickly remind Miss Kirkham, me, of all of our actors' tools. Can you remember the first one? Drum roll on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. On the count of three, tell me the first one. 1, 2, 3. Our body. Good job. Our second actor's tool is our voice. Excellent. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop right there with our first two actors' tools. It's been just a day or two since we've done this warm-up, okay? This warm-up is called Hey Lolly. It's a wonderful warm-up given to Miss Kirkham by a good friend, Miss Cynthia Ellick. We've done it before, but it's been a long time. So here's the job. When we say the word pop, I want you to actually jump. Yes, jump. Jump on the word pop. The words are hey lolly, 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 hey lolly, lolly, and then you need to jump on pop. Okay? Yes, even you older students, you're never too old to stretch or sing, so I'd like for you to sing with me. Now, Miss Kirkham is by no means the most amazing guitarist in the world. In fact, I know few chords, but enough for us to have a little extra fun here. Here we go. Ready? On the count of 3. 1. Remember, hey lolly, 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 pop. Please jump on pop. Lolly, 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 hey lolly, lolly, pop. Hey lolly, 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 hey lolly, lolly, pop. Are you popping? Make sure you pop, like popcorn. Hey lolly, 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 hey lolly, lolly, pop. Hey lolly, 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 hey lolly, lolly, pop. Now this time I want you to think about a dragonfly. Now you could either be a teeny tiny dragonfly, ooh, flying around a lake, or you could be a great, gigantic dragon who's flying. Your choice. If you're sitting, I'd like to think, how could you show little tiny wings while you're sitting? And if you're standing, how could you fly around the room like a giant dragon? I'd like to see that. Yes, everyone. Here we go. Hey dragon, dragon, dragon. Hey dragon, dragon, fly. 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 Okay, let's do this time hey ninja. So I want you to think about how a ninja would sneak. Would they be sneaky fingers? Are you going to sneak around your room? Sneaking around the room. How are you going to sneak as a ninja? Here we go. You can hear some vehicles sneaking by us too. Hey ninja, ninja, ninja. Hey ninja, ninja. Sneak. I want to see you all sneak. Who's doing the best job sneaking? You all are. Hey ninja, ninja, ninja. Hey ninja, ninja, sneak. Hey ninja, ninja, ninja. Hey ninja, ninja, sneak. Hey ninja, ninja, ninja. Hey ninja, ninja, sneak. Now this is going to be Miss Kirkham's last one for today. And here's what I would like. I want you to freeze in your best, most dramatic tableau. If you cannot remember what a tableau is, it is a frozen picture. So a tableau is going to show something, but be completely frozen. If I was eating, and then I freeze. If I was taking a picture, and then I freeze. So a tableau is going to be a frozen picture. So I want you to be frozen. So I'm going to sing, hey student, 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 hey student, student, freeze. And I'd like you to freeze however you'd like you're surprised. Throw in a gesture, that's your motion with your hands or your face. Or if you're angry, hey student, 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 hey student, student, freeze. Hey student, 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 hey student, student, freeze. However you'd like to freeze, like you're thinking, like you're angry, like you're sad, like you're excited, like you're surprised. However you'd like to freeze. Here we go. Hey, student, student, student. Hey, student, student, freeze. 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 Good job. Remembering that acting is mostly imagination. Imagining if this were really happening to you, how would you respond? So it does not matter if you are 5 or 105. When you are trying to become popcorn, how would that look? If you're trying to fly like a dragon, what would it be like to be a dragon? If you're sneaking around the stage like a ninja, how on earth would you sneak? What would you be thinking? What are you trying to sneak to grab? And then the last time, what emotion were you feeling? And why were you feeling that way? Remembering when you're writing scenes, you want to know who you're talking about, what they want, who you're talking to, how you feel about them, and what's going on in the scene. These are all things that help us act using our imagination. All right, moving on. Hello, 2nd and 3rd grade students. I hope that you had so much fun with Hey Lolly. Just a reminder that we popped and we flew and we did dramatic faces, and I hope that each one of you did that at home. If you just listened to Miss Kirkham and you didn't actually act it out, go back, rewind, try again. You are never too old to act out a song. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, last week we talked about the fact that imagination may sound like something only little tiny kids need, but that's not true. You guys are all having a unit based off of collaboration, working together, and teamwork. Okay? And ladies and gentlemen, you're talking about how theater people have lots of different jobs, and all of these jobs have to come together to work together. So both in 2nd grade and 3rd grade, we have talked about many of these different roles. Remember, Miss Kirkham does not mean a dinner roll, although those are delicious. Now I want dinner rolls. Sorry to make you hungry, but we will keep talking about different types of theater jobs. Last week, some of you told me if you would rather be in the crew, not a pirate crew, aye, mateys, but the people who work backstage. We mentioned maybe the cameraman would be part of the crew holding up the camera, which brings me to the green screen. Yes, we will continue talking over the next couple of weeks. Miss Kirkham's not going to show you a lot about green screen today because we know this is a recorded video and not a live one, but I did have some questions about, well, Miss Kirkham, could it just be a green wall? For instance, Miss Kirkham's behind a really cool tree. That's our climbing rope, but behind a really cool tree, could that be considered a green screen? Would that work? Would any green space work? A green blanket? A green car, if that car was green? Would any green thing work for a green screen? Well, let's teleport and take a look at that. So on the count of 3, I'd like special fingers so that we can transport into a room that's green and see if it would work. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, students, our drama warm-up is over and Miss Kirkham is standing in front of what appears to be a green room. I would like to know, with a thumbs up or a thumbs down based off of last week, would this be considered a green screen? Ms. Kirkham is going to give you 3 seconds to guess. You may say it out loud. Do 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 do. Is this a green screen? Close. My friends, this is a green room, but it will not count as a green screen because this room has little bitty lines on it, okay? So I want to remind you that if you're in a room that has a green wall of any kind, that might work for a green screen. But in the next couple of weeks, we talked about how Screens can be edited based off of your background, and unfortunately, this will not work for a green screen because these little lines would make a difference. So for a green screen, you want a flat background. Also, it can't be too tiny. I have a green towel. Would that work? No, because this is such a small little green square that it's not going to cover my whole body. So a few friends asked Miss Kirkham, could I make a green screen out of a green yoga mat? Well, that depends. Does your green yoga mat hide your whole body? Miss Kirkham, could I make a green screen out of a green blanket? Well, that depends. Does your green blanket have lots of little lines on it, like these little circles? Because if there are little lines, it doesn't quite work as well. Miss Kirkham, my poster board got bent and is all wavy and crinkly. Will my poster board still work? Maybe not. Not if it has a lot of lines and curves on it. You want a flat, straight background, because the more little things that the light's going to pick up, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be as solid to get rid of, okay? You could still try. I could still probably edit this background to disappear, even with the lines, but it is the goal to have a really solid something to work with for a green screen. Okay, so if you're trying to find a green wall, I would encourage you to find something that is solid green. You don't want lots of texture, lots of little grooves and things in the background, because when you try to get rid of that, it does make a slight difference. Welcome back, friends. So you can see that no, not every green space will work. Although you could use that space, you really could. You would still be able to edit it out. It just doesn't look as nice as when your green space is solid. So those green leaves are pretty cool, but because there's a lot of light coming through them, making them disappear would be a little more difficult. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, you do have a job this week. First, I'd like for you to remember some of those theater jobs, roles that we talked about last week. Try and name 5. I know that's kind of a lot. Try and name 5 roles that aren't acting. Acting is definitely a role. Try and think of 5 jobs we talked about last week that are not acting. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to brainstorm. Did you think of 5? Miss Kirkham's going to say a few out loud and see if you were right. For every single role that you thought of, I want you to give yourself like twinkle fingers or pat yourself on the back, and I would like you to keep track of how many you got right, because under the chat today, Miss Kirkham will make a post inside of your chat, and under your post today, I want you to tell Miss Kirkham, how many jobs did you remember from last week? How many jobs did you remember? Did you remember only 1? Or did you remember more than 1? Did you remember 5? 25? All of them? Miss Kirkham won't say 25 today, though we know there are a lot. You might have said director. That's the boss of the show. They tell the actors where to go and what to do. You might have said the playwright. That's the person who writes the story. It's different from an author because a play script or a script is for actors to read. We know that lines, dialogue, they look different from paragraphs. You might have said the set designer, the person who makes the background or the setting. You might have said the costume designer, who makes what they wear. You might have said sound designer. If a character is walking through a door, it might make a noise, or if a dog is barking, so the actor doesn't actually have to bark on stage. You might have said the editor, if you're talking about a green screen. You might have said the stage manager. The stage manager is the person backstage helping to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. You might have said so we just said stage manager. You might have said the producer. The producer is kind of the main boss, the director's boss. They make sure that there's enough money. You might have said the marketing making sure that everyone knows about the show so people actually buy tickets to come and see you. You might have said, let's do one more. You might have said the carpenter or an engineer, because they are engineers that help build or help design the lighting. There's a run crew. You might have said the run crew that we say. Now, Miss Kirkham could say a whole lot more roles, because remember last week we counted about 30 different backstage roles that you could have for a big theater. We know smaller community theaters don't normally have that many people helping on the team, just because they need to get paid, and so smaller community theaters don't always have that many people. They might have a musical director, a director, they might have a few people on crew running the lights or the sound, they might have a stage manager backstage. The bigger theaters are going to have more people, and we know that. Remember that we said that a film could have even more than that. We joked last week that Iron Man, they had 3,310 people just working backstage on the crew, making sure that every little detail, including those cool green screen scenes, were edited the exact correct way. Okay, I told you that you guys are going to zoom in closer to certain roles this week. We just did a brief overview last week, and this week we're remembering those things. You are going to pretend to be the playwright. Now, I know that you've already written a scene. Miss Kirkham, we wrote a scene not last week, but the week before. Today, I don't want you to write lines. I want you to make a comic book version of them. That's right, you get to design your very own comic, kind of like a storyboard, thinking through what you would want your story to be about. When we did our scene, we only did one short scene. I want you to create the entire story, but that's an awful lot to write and a lot of lines to write. So instead of writing all of the lines to a full story, you get to draw pictures of them. So let's jump to see what that might look like. On the count of 3, I'd like for you to snap your fingers so we can be there. Remember, if you can't snap, that's okay. You're just going to pinch. Are you ready? Remember, your job is going to be the playwright, but Miss Kirkham's not going to make you write an entire story with the script and all of the lines. That's a lot to do in 1 week. Instead, you're going to do a comic book version. So you'll design the entire story. You'll design the entire story, but you're going to, instead of writing lines or dialogue, draw it in pictures. Are you ready to see a little bit of that a little closer? Get ready to snap. 1, 2, 3. Look, we made it. Oh, and there's more than just one grade level with me right now. Hello to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. No, not 1st grade. 1st grade isn't quite to the level of creating their own stories yet. These are only for my older friends. But that's okay, they'll still have a lot of fun. So if you have a 1st grade sibling, they'll still have fun making their own characters, but your job is extra special, my older friends. Anyone with siblings could help each other out. Your job this week is to imagine you are the playwright. Remember that Miss Kirkham is not going to make you design a play from beginning to the end and write it all out and write all of the lines. Some plays are rather large. They really are. For instance, Miss Kirkham has a whole shelf full of plays, and some of our plays are about this thick. Here are a couple of Miss Kirkham's plays. Woohoo! They're pretty. They're pretty thick. If you'd like to write all of your own play from beginning to end, I would love to see your play. But back to the topic today. Instead of writing the entire play beginning to end, you're making your whole story, your own story, playwrights, from beginning to end, comic book style. So Miss Kirkham has this gigantic poster board here. You don't need a poster board, but at home I don't have my whiteboard, so we're using the poster board instead. And Miss Kirkham has made 9 different grids. So you're going to need a white piece of paper. So a blank piece of paper. If at home, students, you only have lined, that's okay. It's just a little harder to draw a picture on a lined piece of paper. So if you have like copy printer paper, just a blank piece of paper, or even if you have a paper with something on it, and then you use the back, that's okay. I would rather you use scratch paper like this than lined paper, but if you only have lined paper, that's okay. You're going to make a grid of 9. So Miss Kirkham moved across, whoop, 1, across, boop, 2 lines, and then I went down. 1, 2. Okay, students? Okay, so now I have 9 storyboarding boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I went a little faster for my friends who were already counting quite quickly. I'd like you to go from the beginning all the way to the end, okay? So before you draw your pictures, I want you to think of your story. Draw with pencil first, write with pencil first. So every one of you, not with a pen first. I give you 5 seconds to find your pencil or hold it up high and do a little pencil mustache dance. Okay, so my friends who need a pencil, you have 5 seconds to get one. My friends who have a pencil, do a 5-second pencil mustache dance. Good pencil mustache dance. If you're sharing this pencil, please make sure to wipe it off. Nobody wants a nose pencil. Nobody wants to share a nose pencil. Okay, now looking at Miss Kirkham, I want each of these boxes to tell part of your story. Okay? Comic grids go different ways. Just for the sake of our class, we are going to go beginning. Then we're going to go down, over, down, over. Beginning, down, over, down, over. So it might not be quite like some of the comics you read, more of a storyboard mat, and that's okay. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. Miss Kirkham knows if you have adults at home who actually do professional comic booking, that's incredible. This isn't quite like an actual comic book, okay? We're just having fun storyboarding our idea and drawing pictures, okay? Kind of a comic form without all the comic rules. All right, so I want you to think beginning. So this story is going to be about you, students. So the very, very, very beginning of your story, we just need to see who you are. So my story is about me, and I'm pretending I'm a hero. I want you to pretend you are the hero of the story. So once upon a time, there was Miss Kirkham. So I'm going to write just in pencil, Miss Kirkham, and then I need to write, where was I? And I'm going to say that Miss Kirkham was on a walk in the woods, just for fun. Walk in woods. Okay, so if you can kind of see, it looks a little backwardsy, but Miss Kirkham walking woods. This is going to help me know later that that's what I want to draw my picture of, okay? Once upon a time, there was Miss Kirkham walking woods. She ran into... I'm going to have a sidekick. So if I'm a hero, I need a sidekick, okay? Not here in Arizona, but I grew up having a kitty cat, and so I'm going to say that my cat Thomas is with me. So Miss Kirkham ran into her cat Thomas. That's going to be my second story. So your first box should be you. Decide where you're at. Once upon a time, there was you as the hero. Where were you? Then I want you to think of a sidekick. You ran into, who did you run into? And then your adventure needs to start by the third box. So Miss Kirkham and Thomas decided to find berries. Find berries. Okay, so now I have a box, Miss Kirkham walking in the woods. Then I have my sidekick. Miss Kirkham's going to put her cat Thomas from back in Illinois, Siamese kitty cat. Miss Kirkham loves Siamese kitty cats. I love all animals. So if you have an animal sidekick, you don't have to have an animal sidekick. It could be a little brother, sister, or adult, or teacher. Interesting. Okay, then what are you doing? Now we're going to come down, whoop, down to this box. Now I want your villain to be introduced. When suddenly, We need a villain. Okay, we are kind to all of our teachers, but I know he's such a good sport that I'm going to make Mr. Bloom into a villain. Okay, and I'm going to make Mr. Bloom into, we'll say an evil scientist, when all of a sudden an evil scientist named Mr. Bloom. So I'm going to say when suddenly Mr. Bloom, the evil scientist, tried to steal their berries for his science projects. Yikes. Okay, so I got evil Mr. Bloom, the scientist, science project. Okay. Now I need a way out of that. And it doesn't have to be realistic. It can be absolutely imaginary. So I had another drama teacher who his name is Mr. Simpson, and he works at also at Basis, but at Basis, I believe, Phoenix Primary. And he made his sidekick turn into a drama llama. How cool would a drama llama be? But I don't want to steal his idea, although that would be very cool. I'm going to make my cat have the ability to spin the cat's tail around really fast and help me fly. So thankfully, Thomas spun his tail and flew Miss Kirkham with her berries to safety. Flew to safety. Now here's the problem. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes left. So we're at safety, but we're gonna make a little bit of a twist to this tail. I want there to be another unfortunately, so something else to go wrong. Unfortunately, what could go wrong? Unfortunately, they got so high into the sky that they got stuck on tall tree branches. Yikes, stuck. Fortunately, so this is a good thing. So unfortunately, fortunately, good thing, there were even more berries there. More berries. Yay! I have 2 more boxes to wrap it up. So I need, how am I starting to get safely done with whatever our adventure is? And then I need our ending. Okay? They climbed down. And had enough berries to make pie. Ooh, I love pie. So this is going to be my story. So my friends, this is just me writing out my story, but your job is to also draw the pictures and color it. So that's kind of a big job, okay, my friends? I'd like you to really try your best. You've got a lot of class time this week to work on this. I know that your classes are a little different this week, so you don't have to turn it in until next Monday. For my Friday friends, if you're seeing this all the way on Friday, you have the whole weekend just to play and kind of color with it. It won't be due until Monday at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Okay? So your job is to storyboard this comic, and then I'm going to go back, and the first one says Miss Kirkham walks in the woods. So because I drew this in pencil, I can now erase it and draw my picture of Miss Kirkham walking leaves, walking in the woods. Yay! And hopefully your picture is a little better than Miss Kirkham. Oh my, I accidentally made myself have 3 legs. So look at the picture and not at the filming. So who you are, superhero you, meet your sidekick, whoever your sidekick is, figure out where you're going, what you're doing, meet a villain. Boo! Get away. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a twist. Fortunately, we fix our twist. We start to end our story, and we come with a resolution, an ending. Then go back and draw your pictures. Okay? Students, you're probably wondering how to turn this in. Don't worry. You're going to turn this assignment in by after you're all done. You can either scan it in if your adult's really great at that, or you may take a picture, and upload it to Microsoft Teams. I do want you to know that the grading period is almost finished. So some of you had a little harder time on your quizzes, and a few asked for multiple, for extra credit. Ms. Kirkham doesn't give extra credit, but I did go back to those friends and add a few extra points for participation points. So to every quiz taken, I have given an extra couple of points for participation. It is even across the board, unless you got all of your points correct. If you got a 10 out of 10, I did not add any participation points for you, because, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot have 110% in a class. That is just crazy. Okay, so Ms. Kirkham only added a couple of extra credit points, not because you had extra credit, because I included the fact that you participated into those original quizzes. So some of you got a few extra points. Now, if you only got 2 out of 10 questions right, and I gave you 2 more points, that's still only 3 out of 10. Okay, so I didn't give you 10 out of 10 points. I still needed to see that you tried. But I gave 2 to 3 extra participation points depending on your grade and depending on the quiz, because you participating also should count as a little bit of the score. So again, if you got 0 out of 10, you did not turn it in, then I could not give you those participation points. If you did try and you got 0 out of 10, then you maybe got 3 out of 10 as the total grade. Okay, so Ms. Kirkham was not giving you the whole score. I was just adding a few points because I believe you working hard to participate should count a little bit too. If you already had 10 out of 10, you didn't need any extra points because you got them all. You can't have more than 10 out of 10 points because you can't have over 100 points in any class. So if you are worried that maybe at the very beginning you tried your very hardest, but you missed some questions on a quiz, Ms. Kirkham gave 2 to 3 extra points for those quizzes. Remember, if you got 0 out of 10, that's still only 3 out of 10, but that's far better than what you would have had. Okay, I hope that you have so much fun with this grid. I hope that I cannot wait to see your cool comics. We'll talk about them, and I will even share some of them next week, whether you're in person or whether you are online, either way. Until then, we miss you. Have a great, great rest of this week. Bye-bye.